Good evening and welcome back to Prime of Midlife. Excuse me. It's Thursday evening. We're done. I'm off for the weekend from work. I'm so excited. And this evening we are talking food security. And the reason we're talking about that is because Therese Coffey has not been terribly sympathetic, shall we say, towards the farmers when she went to the NFU meeting, so much so that she was booed. She has also um, not enamoured herself to other MPs after her answers to some questions today in the Houses of Parliament, because they were asking about the food security and the shortages, and she's like, well, they're only going to last for 2 to 4 weeks, and we should be eating more seasonally. We have turnips. And although she said she knows it's tough for people in the UK just now with the cost of living crisis, what she would suggest is work more hours, get a better job, upskill yourself. The phrase tone deaf comes to mind. However, that is just a sort of add-on to just the stuff I'm seeing just now, because obviously we know there's some shortages, which there doesn't seem to be in Europe. Um, so we seem to be struggling to get fruit and veg just now here in the UK. And there was, now what was it, the NFU said there was like 1 billion less eggs last year than there was before. And also the chair of the NFU, is it Minette Batters, I think? Batters, definitely, I can't remember her first name. But she was talking today at the NFU meeting, and she was talking about water, because the south of England is still classified as being in drought. Even at this point in the winter, they haven't had enough rain to come out of the drought classification. Now, if we get a warm spring or summer, there could be some real problems, especially for farmers. And people who are looking at this, different departments, different think tanks, and they're saying, well, we need to look at reservoirs. There's been no new reservoirs built since water was privatised. In fact, there's been some sold. There's been billions in profits given to shareholders and very little done to improve the infrastructure. So I'm sure we've all seen the reports about how many thousands or millions of litres are lost every hour through leaking pipes. That loss of water is a big problem for farmers trying to grow food. There are other people who are saying, well, one of the first things we need to do is stop growing water heavy crops and start going for things that are easier to grow. Start looking at the way you're planting them, so that someone said something about downhill planting, because all the water then just runs off. Things like that. And the fact that those conversations are coming up is, I think, quite concerning. And taking all those little comments, and adding them all together, it is beginning to look like the food production in the UK, which, as I said on the last video, we knew last year when we heard about the energy prices going up that some farmers were stopping doing things in greenhouses and such. But nothing's been done about it since. Now, if we all knew that last year, if we knew that the crops were going to go down because the farmers couldn't afford to be producing them, why has there not been a contingency plan sorted out by the government? That's a good question, I think. I don't think that anything will be sorted out, because most of the comments you hear from the government are that, you need to work more hours, you need to get a better job. Easier said than done, as far as I'm concerned. But it is something we have to look at. So definitely, if you haven't thought about growing things now, you need to start growing things. Now, just while I'm telling you this is, if you remember, I went shopping, I bought spring onions. And I put them in a glass of water, which has now run out. There was some water in there. And this is all the extra growth I've got, so that is all going to be chopped up. Again, spring onion, I cut one of them. Now, I don't know if you can see that very well, but this little thing, see, I have little green shoots. That's 4 days growth. That's all that is. So that's not going to take long. And see how the roots have expanded? So that's going to get planted out in the garden. And if you saw my haul from Sunday, you'll see I got one of the Too Good to Waste boxes from Lidl's. So what I have done tonight, because I'm going away, is I have all my spring onion bottoms that are going to go in water so that the roots grow. And I've chopped up all the onions into here. So that will be getting frozen. And then these will be getting planted out. So that means I will have spring onions pretty much most of the year. I'll just keep cropping and topping. And, do you know, that Too Good to Waste box only cost me £1.50. And I got 2 packs of spring onions. I've still got another pack to chop up. So I think we all need to start looking at that. Next on my list is my garlic that's been sitting in the bottom of the trolley for a while. They say it's similar to spring onions, so I'll be trying that. And once I come back from my weekend away, I will be starting to plant food, because I just find it concerning that the government doesn't seem to find it concerning. There's been no more help for farmers as such, so they can't afford to grow things. The costs, the input costs as they call them, what it costs them to produce that food is not worth it. So they're not doing it. And if in the summer we get a heat wave, there's going to be problems with water, so things are going to go up in price even more. So yeah, food security in the UK at the moment, I think, is a bit concerning. So I'm going to go and chop some more spring onions and get packed for going away. And I'll catch you later.